Hey, what's up? Just going to give you guys a little update on the truck. We've been working pretty feverishly, and I say we, and I mean Julia's been standing there laughing at me the entire time while I've been working on my truck, but thanks for your moral and mental support. I got everything back together after doing the overhead, so the truck was smoking a little bit. It's been sitting in a junkyard for about 10 years. It hadn't been run for a while, so I figured it's probably time for an overhead. So I ran the valve clearances, set my intake valves at like 14 thousandths, I think, and my exhaust at 27, if I remember correctly. And then I ran the outer base circle method on the injectors, set all those to 72 inch-pounds, which a couple of them were at like in the 20, 30 inch-pound range, so I imagine they were pretty far out, which would explain some of the smoking. Hopefully some of that will go away when I start it up, if it starts back up. Also replace or reset the lash on the jakes. All the jakes are set at like 24 thousandths. Moved my valve covers around a little bit. The valve covers were mounted in a non-conducive fashion to the way I think that it should have been. They had the oil filler cap on position 1, which is right underneath the intake breather, so you can't even ever get to it. I figure if I put it back here, at least when I jack the cab up, it'd be a little bit easier to drop oil in here, which is, when I'm probably servicing this thing, I will probably put oil in here versus putting it in through the front, through the service hole and using the funnel and all that kind of crap, because when you're putting 8 gallons of oil in something like this, more than likely you're probably going to be using a 5-gallon bucket, so moving a 5-gallon bucket around is kind of a pain in the ass when you're putting it into the front of the vehicle. Anyway, I digressed a lot. New couplers on here. Got new coupler on the intake side of my charge air pipe and on the turbo side. The old ones are pretty worn out. New belts on the front of the engine, except for the water pump belt. I couldn't get one of those until next week. I ordered a new one. I'm going to stick it in the truck with me. The old one didn't look too bad, so I went ahead and stuck it back on there. I lubed up my hub, my fan hub, and also tightened it up a little bit. I got that in a time-lapse video. It was a little bit loose, but I figured if I pull the cap off, tighten the lock nut down there a little bit, take out the extra slack, we should be good. Stuck the grease fitting on there, greased it up real good. And new belts for the alternator, new belts for the fan, and I have a belt for the air conditioning compressor, but for now, I need a new air conditioning compressor because number one, the system's been open and discharged for quite some time. Number two, there's a bolt broken out of the back of the air conditioning compressor itself, where it bolts to the bracket coming off the front of the block. So we need a new compressor, new lines, new receiver dryer, new condenser, new evaporator, basically a new AC system. But I'd rather have AC than not have AC. I'd rather not suck myself to half the death driving the truck up and down the road. New fuel lines, we did that a while ago. Return line, dash 12 feed line, dash 12 line going back down the tank, and dash 12 or dash 10 crossover line going between the two tanks. Oh man, we've got a lot done on this truck. We just put some new brake lines on here. Julie actually helped out with that. New air brake lines on the front because the old ones were just pretty ratty looking. I replaced all the ones in the back. I just hadn't gotten around to the ones in the front. Totally forgot about them. Other than that, it's about time to drop the cab back down and see if we can fire her back up. So, oh yeah, we did some new battery cables on it too. We replaced the incorrect size battery cables that were on here. There was a 4-aught on the power side, shoved into a 3-aught lug. Somebody cut the cable down and shoved it into the lug. Poorly shoved it in there and poorly crimped it. There was no mechanical connection whatsoever. It was just all loosely friction fit with high resistance. The negative line was a dash 2 shoved into a dash 3 or 2-aught line shoved into a 3-aught fitting, so it was loose in there and it was crimped poorly. We put the right fittings on there. We crimped them with my 16-ton hydraulic press. They're on there. You can probably hang the batteries by the cables now. Covered them up with some nice sheathing. Ran them into a battery box. Made a nice little battery box here on my exhaust rack. Integrated all 3 of the batteries together back here and put a little lid on top of them. Everything should be nice and snug now, so hopefully we'll be a little bit closer to going down the road. I still want to replace this plug and put a new latch on here because the cap that covers this thing up actually has a latch on it and it keeps this thing from flying out of here, so I want to get a new one of these. I'll probably end up replacing the back half of it too. We got new lines going to the trailer and stuff, and the only thing now we really need to do is mount the air filter want to relocate the air filter from the top of the engine and stick it here where the batteries used to be, in front of the battery tray. That way it won't be on top of the engine when I get ready to service the engine, or if anything needs to be done to it. It's kind of back and hidden out of the way, and I can run my stack over here, run my intake stack, old school style, the way some of these guys remember. Probably do like a 7-inch pipe. I got some 3/8/16s weld nuts here, put some brackets on here, and run my intake up to the top, put a little mushroom cap on it, call it a day. Anyway, we're going to pause for a minute, let the cab down, and try to start this thing up. So we'll see you guys in a few.